I'm doing well.
Good.
Right.
You have a good Thanksgiving?
How was your holidays?
It was good. My Thanksgiving was good. How about yours?
It was nice. I think I overate a little bit, but it was pretty standard.
Yeah. That's funny.
I fell into the trap. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. This year I did.
Oh no. Now I think I saw a post on your Facebook. Is your wife pregnant?
Yes, yeah, she is. Yeah.
Oh, congrats. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, she's about 3.5 months now.
Oh,
So
great.
the due date is at the end of May.
And is this your first?
This will be my first. Yeah.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Um, so somewhat surprising, somewhat not. I mean, uh, so I didn't know if it would actually happen or not, and it is happening.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. Do you
Yeah.
now too early to know boy or girl? Or?
We don't know yet. We're gonna find out though. So we're not gonna wait, but it'll be another couple weeks.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Okay. So did you have any chance to look over anything I sent you? Were you able to look over that blueprint document that I sent to you at all?
Yeah, I looked it over and filled out my little part of
Oh,
my
great.
program, and then I did the avatar. Those were the only two things, right?
Yeah, that's all I sent you so far. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Those things I did, or tried to do, I should say, the best
Okay.
of my knowledge.
Yeah, I mean that blueprint that I sent you, I didn't get a full chance to kind of explain exactly about that, but it's a really powerful document because what you're doing is you're essentially breaking down the different transformations that you're offering to your client when they work with you, and you're kind of giving them a name, you're breaking down the steps. You're actually what I find and what I've found with this is that oftentimes people that are good at what they do don't know how to define what they do and communicate it well. So by going through something like this, you're actually you're actually you might be learning as you do it. You're like, oh, I do this and I do this too, and this is how I kind of do that. This is how I deliver that result. And if you're able to name the steps and create kind of a chronological system, it does really well in an enrollment conversation or after the enrollment conversation when somebody wants to see like a physical document about what's going to be coming up in the class. It's a great piece that accompanies. So right after the enrollment conversation, you send that to them, and then they know exactly what they're going to get for their investment.
Right.
So, okay. So what we'll do is for me to review that, why don't you send that to me if you're able to email that or scan it and email it or however you filled it out.
Okay.
And we can kind of talk more about that over the next call.
Okay.
But so we talked about the enrollment conversation. We talked about the blueprint. Those are like the first two kind of fundamentals on closing the sale. The next thing is kind of backtracking to the avatar. And so I sent you those two introductory worksheets. But there's a lot more to that. And I wanted to spend some time today talking about that because as we go forward and we get into messaging, which I know you want to talk about messaging, but successful messaging is largely based on how accurate we've gotten down to our avatar. So, because we want to communicate to our ideal target market audience and communicate them as effectively as possible. So what we're wanting to do first here is today I just want to talk a little bit about like how you can, for one, we want to identify the most profitable market segment in your out of your offers, and I think we kind of did that on the last call. So I think we're gonna. To me, it sounded like your most profitable segment was the 12-week course. Is that kind of okay? So we're kind of sticking with that as the key offer. The next thing is to kind of get into the mind of the client, and we started that with the avatar worksheet. But it's kind of understanding the wants, the emotions, and the beliefs of your ideal client. We actually want to do some more exercises about getting into their head as best we can, and there's also something called three-dimensionalizing the benefits. And I think we talked a little bit about this, but with each of those transformations that are on your blueprint, If we're going to write sales copy and do messaging later on, one of the things we're going to want to do is we're going to want to three-dimensionalize those benefits, meaning using sensory words like, as this person achieves this outcome, what does a typical day look like? What do they hear in the morning? What do they see in the morning? What do they feel? How is it different? Those kind of things. So they call that, that's a marketing term, three-dimensionalizing an experience.
Mm-hmm.
That's very powerful especially in sales copy. So if we're sending people to some kind of a sales landing page, we're going to want to include some of that languaging, and you'll see that oftentimes if you read through a long form sales page, you're going to see them talking about, imagine's a very common word used to start this kind of a conversation. But imagine you've gone through my program, it's a year in the future, and imagine all the changes that have taken place. So how is life different now that you've been able to consistently and predictably generate X number of dollars a month using my program? So what are you doing now that's different? What are you able to do that you weren't able to do before? Those kind of things, those kind of questions get people into that mindset and get them. Again, we're trying to generate emotions,
Right?
Because from a standpoint of sales, emotions are what sell, and then the brain or logic is kind of how the brain justifies the sale. So the emotions really where the sale is made, but you do have to communicate with the brain to justify the financial part of it.
Right.
So there is a combo there, but on an emotional level, most people will buy, or they'll start the buying process from that emotional side.
Right.
So if we can connect with them and get with them and show and tie your program to an emotional benefit that they're seeking, that's going to be big.
Okay.
And I'll talk some more about that. And I have a couple. So I'm going to send you quite a bit of worksheets at the end of this call that are going to go through some of this stuff. Just more avatar worksheets and more avatar work.
Okay.
But after that way, after this call, and if you could get that to me before the next one, it'd be ideal.
Okay.
But the next call, we'll focus exclusively on messaging. So I think there's just more to get on the foundation first.
Okay.
And then the next one will be all about messaging, and then probably the last call we'll focus more on traffic, and we can talk about social media networks, things like that too.
Right.
But you wanted to talk about Facebook ads. That's one source of traffic. We can talk about Facebook ads. We could talk a little bit about Google AdWords. Different sources of traffic, though.
Okay.
Any questions about from last week before I keep going here?
No, I'm good.
Okay. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, let's see, market segmentation here. A little bit deeper on that. So what are your main products where you're offering like the 12-week transformational course?
Mm-hmm.
What are some of like the hot topics or keywords that are inside of that program?
Transformation, self-compassion, breaking old habits, creating new habits, lasting changes and results.
Lasting changes in what?
Results.
Results. Okay.
Personal power.
Okay.
Empowerment. Those are probably the key ones.
Okay. And who would you say are your competitors? Like, who are some influencers in your space that are doing something similar to what you're doing that you would say would be like a competitor?
I mean, you're not talking about like famous people, are you?
I am actually. I'm talking about that. You can go big with it, or if you know people on a smaller scale. But yeah, the bigger names are fine.
Okay, I have both. Somebody like a Brene Brown.
How do you spell that?
Her first name is weird. Brene, Brene.
Brene. Okay, I've heard of. I think I have heard that name. Okay.
She does a lot of TED Talks and stuff.
Okay. Anyone, who else?
Let's see.
Or what companies even?
I'm thinking of names like Gabby Bernstein, Chris Carr.
Any other other company names too? Like any major companies that?
I know there are those out there. I mean, probably I'm thinking like maybe some kind of athletic gear company. I don't know though. I don't know.
Okay, that's fine. All right, so let's. And then who would you say is your, like on your target market exercise? What was like the age, sex, and what were you kind of coming up with on there?
Yeah, so 45 was age, gender female, marital status married, children maybe 2 or 3. You want their ages?
Not yet.
Okay.
Let's hang off on that for 1 second here. So what I do want to do is I actually do want to do a screen share here in a second here.
Okay.
1 second, hang on. And I'm going to show you. Okay, so I'm actually in Facebook right now, but I want to show you something. If I go into Facebook, I'm in the Ads Manager right now.
Yeah.
If I go in the Ads Manager and I go to this tool called Audience Insights, this is something that I use for research.
Oh.
So this is it's kind of a research tool to look at the audiences on Facebook and to start to narrow down just some basic things about people that have interests. So people that have interest in either the keywords that we were talking about or in influencers in the space.
Oh, okay.
So right now, when I go in there, they come up with this data right here. You'll see this is the data for everybody on Facebook. It'll show you exactly what percentage are 18 to 24, 25 to 34, 65 plus. So these are the percentages that it breaks down to. 54% of users on Facebook are women, 46% men. And it kind of just breaks down everything. And out of that 46%, this percentage are in these age ranges. It breaks down exactly what percentage of men and women are on Facebook, and then so now we can start plugging in some data, and we can compare everybody on Facebook to the type of audience that we want to target with an ad, something like that.
Yep.
Okay, so you said that your audience does it tend to be 40 plus then? Is that kind of fair?
Well, 30s to 50s, but yeah, the sweet spot's 40s probably, yeah.
Okay, so for now, I'm going to put 30 to 59.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, for instance, we can start to look at the differences here. So the gray box is representing the new audience that I'm making, compared to. Or let me see. Actually, I'm sorry. The blue is the new audience. The gray was the defaults that everybody that is on Facebook. Period. So sorry, the blue is the new audience. I mixed that up. But actually, so because we're targeting 30 to 59, so you can see now that no one 18 to 24 is going to show up there because nobody fits that criteria. And you can see that based on these age ranges, so this is 25 to 34, so this picks up from 30 to, this is picking up the people that are 30 to 34. And this is just a breakdown of that one filter I've added so far. So now we're going to want to come in here and start adding more filters, like people that are interested in things. So would you say like health would be one, I would assume?
Yeah.
So we can look at like health and wellness.
Yeah.
We'll start with that. So now I've added that one filter, and up here we can see the size of the audience.
Okay.
So here, if I'm searching for people on Facebook that are 30 to 59 and they're interested in health and wellness, we have a potential audience of 4 to 4.5 million active people. And what's cool is, and we're going to keep narrowing this down, but what's cool is I can actually get some data to go with it. And the thing that I look at is, I'm going to look at this thing called page likes. And I'm going to start, so now I know these are people that are 30 to 59 that like health and wellness. So these are the other things that they're likely to like.
Huh.
And if I come down to page likes, these are the most common for this demographic. On if they like this, they're likely to like this. And so there's this thing, Eat Fit Fuel, which I'm not. Some of these you might be familiar with. So Eat Fit Fuel is the #1 thing that's coming up here. 67x affinity, meaning if they like that, they're 67 times more likely to like this too. And I don't know, some of these might not be health related. I think most of them are. But we can start kind of customizing. So now, which of these would you say is relevant to your market? Any of these?
Well, I've heard of some of them. I don't remember what Eat Fit Fuel is, and I've heard of Ashley Black Guru, but I don't remember what it is.
Okay, so we can look at them too. So this is Eat Fit Fuel.
Oh, they're in LA. Oh, it's food and beverage.
And it might just be like a blog with articles and things like that. It looks like it's just like a healthy magazine or something, or blog, or yeah.
Yeah, I mean, mine's more so lifestyle than this, but there's definitely an element of health in mine.
Okay. Okay, so yours is a lifestyle. Well, let's think here. So let me see if there's anything about like healthy lifestyles.
Oh, there you go.
Well, it might be, and the thing is, we want to look at each of these. So I'm actually going to take off health and wellness for now, and look at healthy lifestyles, and we can see it's a tiny audience. And right now we are looking at the entire U.S. But if I just look at people interested in healthy lifestyles, and that's it, there's 9,000 to 10,000 monthly active people.
Wow.
And that means, and what that means though is that they've checked off, they've gone to a page called Healthy Lifestyles and they've liked that. So it's a little ambiguous in that way.
Okay.
But let's keep looking. Like, what magazines do people get that you would say? Self magazine?
Yeah, I think it's called Self. Yeah.
Oops, not self-employment.
Nope. They probably actually also get maybe the Oprah magazine or Health is another magazine.
Health magazine? Okay.
Yep. I saw it. It was there. There it is.
Yeah, there it is. Okay, and right now, just so you know, I'm adding these in. These are relevant things, and this is all these are expanding your audience. So they're not. So this is people that like this, or this. So it's kind of like an or functionality right now. But when I have Health Magazine, Health and Wellness, and Self Magazine, we have 10 to 15 million people that fit one of those criteria.
Okay.
And again, these are the ones that are coming up as pages that they might like. And this is where we get more detailed, though. If we can find some in here that can narrow down the audience, this can be really useful. So are you familiar with any of these? I know Blue Apron is the home delivery.
Blue Apron, Home Goods, and Zappos. I know those.
Do those fit with with what your target market would be purchasing? I mean, are they buying Blue Apron type of food delivery or?
Oh yeah, I mean the busy working professional, sure, they don't have time to cook, or they want convenience, so Blue Apron would make sense. Yeah, like any home delivery service that is healthy with their food, yeah, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, well, these are the ones that are most popular on Facebook. So this is kind of giving you an idea. So Blue Apron is
Well known, yeah.
one that probably they have probably the biggest audience on Facebook. They have a 1.7 million Facebook Facebook audience there.
That's crazy.
And let's see, connections. So this is, but this is something that I would encourage you to play with. And this is kind of how you can discover. You use your intuition to an extent on things that people are likely to like. Like you came up with like Health Magazine, Self Magazine, and then you start looking for other things that can narrow your audience down. So some of these, like the Eat Fit Fuel and the Blue Apron, are probably strong audiences on Facebook that you may not have thought of without using this tool. But this can be very, very helpful.
So then what would I use with this? Look at what those companies are posting?
Well, what we're really doing is ultimately we want to see who your audience is. But when we get to a Facebook ad, we can use this for targeting. So if we're going to run an ad later on, we can actually run the ad to these people. So it's kind of, we're trying to determine exactly who your audience is and what kind of things that they like. And then we can, the other thing we can do is we can start looking at these and seeing if there's relevant content that might be useful for your audience. Okay. But mainly we're looking at just from a future standpoint of identifying exactly who they are and what, where they're hanging out, so that when we do start running ads and marketing, we know where to find them.
Okay.
So now that we have this kind of list here of these 4 categories, which is the start, and we have, and again, 30 to 59, both men and women right now, we can look in the U.S. and see where the biggest segments of them are, where they are residing in the biggest volume kind of thing. So San Diego, 0.7% of the audience is in San Diego.
Makes sense.
And what I can do is I can actually narrow this down. Are you mainly working with people in California, or do you care where they're from?
No, I don't care where they're from, especially when it's anything that's online, Mm-hmm. I like serving the local community, and so I can do in-person things with them, like little bonuses, like a hike or whatever. But I really don't care if it's something where I can help people across the U.S. Look at LA. That's no surprise there.
Yeah. Well, I just narrowed it down to California. So out of I think we had about 10 million people in the U.S.
Right.
So when I narrowed it to California, it dropped it to 1 to 1.5 million. Right. That's for the whole state, and then it just kind of shows you where the density is. So we see Los Angeles, 13% of that 1.5 million is in Los Angeles. San Diego, 6%, San Francisco, 5%. And we can kind of look at the denser areas and just get a feel for where the population may be most likely to be found.
Does it break down? Can it break down LA further, like Ventura County, or no? It doesn't go that deep.
Not here. You can target there. Let me see if they have Ventura on here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they only for this audience insight tool, you can only do cities and regions. However, if you run an ad, you can run an ad to Ventura. If you actually want to run your ad directly to Ventura, you can do that within a 5-mile radius or a 10-mile radius.
It doesn't. Certainly it doesn't have to. So I was
just. Yeah, those are smaller. The reason they don't have it here is because it's a small. It's a very small percentage, and they just don't. They're only giving you like the bigger regions essentially here. Some other things we can look at though are here's a breakdown by household income of all the people that meet this criteria.
Oh wow, that's very cool.
Yeah, so we can get kind of a breakdown of the household income, home ownership, percentage, household size, and things like that. So here we can see that out of your audience, 22% are making $50,000 to $75,000 a year.
I don't think those people could afford me or would want to pay for my services. It has to be like at least $100,000.
Okay. Well, that's good too then, because we have 20, what is that, 20, 30, 36, 39, about 42, 43%, if we add all this together, are making more than $100,000. So it kind of gives you an idea. So it's about a little less than half, but we can filter. So when we actually run the ad, we can filter down. But it gives you an idea of, again, of the audience size. That's what we're looking at. And what's happening.
That's very neat.
So let's just have there, household. Okay, and then and 75% of them own their own home, so that probably fits. Anyway, when we filter it down, it's going to. I'm sure anyone making over 100,000 is going to be much more likely to fall into the own their own home category.
Right.
At least they're more likely to, or they're renting, nice places. And then we can look at like household size and spending methods too. So the average here, you're going to have a household children. Let's see here. So about a 1 to 3 person household is the most common here. So the bigger households are actually less common. A little bit of sense, and sometimes I could see that being the case.
Yeah.
Let's see. I wonder if let me try breaking this down by income a little bit here. So I'm going to actually filter down. I'm going to cut out the people making less than $100,000.
Okay.
Okay, so when I do that, I've cut out. Now this is people that are making 100,000 to more than 500,000. Now we look at the household size, and still, it's about the average is 1 to 3 person households. So there are a lot of single people that are fitting this demographic that are still making that kind of money.
Yeah.
And the outliers are actually families of having 2 children or more, which is kind of
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, a little surprising. I mean, sometimes to make that kind of money, it's harder to have a bigger family because you have so much time commitment.
Right, or you don't have time to actually have children.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean too. I mean, I know my I have family members that are very, very active and very wealthy, and they've never had kids. And
there you go.
They don't want that, and that is their choice. Yeah.
Right.
Let's see here. So again, though, this is the kind of stuff that it becomes very useful, and we're kind of breaking down your audience in a more detailed way. Here's something on purchase behaviors. These are the purchase behaviors that are recorded. So these are kind of vague, but
it's still interesting.
You can look through it and get an idea. So like subscription services, that could be, that could be Netflix, that could be anything. And if they're in the market for a vehicle, the majority of them are looking for a hybrid or alternative fuel vehicle. So that's interesting because when you're doing your targeting, that might be something that you want to include, because that's actually probably pretty relevant for your market.
Yeah, no doubt. Interesting.
Yeah, and it's something you might not intuitively think of, but then when you think about it afterwards, you're like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Market segments. So you can kind of get in here and play with this a little bit more on your own. But if you want to narrow your audience down more, you can come in here and you can, if you want, like, if for some reason you know that people you work with have a college degree or a grad degree, you can add that in. If you decide that your target market is single, or I think you said married. So
maybe they're not.
Well, let's see. If I go to married, and this is now married people that make 100 to 500,000 that are between 30 to 59 in California, we have an audience of 200 to 250,000. That's still a decent sized audience.
Yeah.
And these are people that are married now, and that'll change. Now, if I go back to the household, I mean, that'll make it a minimum size of 2, or it should. I guess you could be married and not live with your spouse.
It happens.
It does happen. So, but yeah, more so, you should shift. This should shift up to families of two or greater.
Yeah, it looked like it did increase. Yeah.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. I'm surprised. I'm just surprised that it's still as high as it is with married couples. But I mean, yeah, I guess that can happen. And let's see here. And then I could say I want them to be homeowners, for instance. So here now if they're a homeowner, that actually didn't. So I changed it to homeownership, and it actually didn't affect the numbers. It's still 200 to 250,000 people, and it dropped down the ones that live alone even more.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, these are just kind of the things we can keep doing. And now if I go to behaviors, and I said that I added in the hybrid vehicle thing.
Oh yeah.
Let's see if I could find I forget what category that was. Hybrid. Let me see. Is it showing?
Yeah, they had a category for it.
I guess I can target it in an ad, but I don't know if it's going to show up here for me to filter by.
Okay.
What it looks like. So some of the behavioral categories don't show up here.
Okay.
Most of them do. Let me just see here. Car now. Yeah, so unfortunately I can't pick that one here.
Okay.
But if I'm running an actual ad, we can look more into that. But again, this is one of the major tools that I mean, if you ever, I've gone through the Facebook certification process to be like an ads certified professional, and this is one of the major things they hammer on in the certification courses is actually using this tool before you run your ads.
Okay.
And I think one of the problems that a lot of people have is that they gloss over the research part and they go straight into the ad, and that tends to not work as well.
No.
Okay. So then I want to show you a couple other tools here that are useful. So have you ever used like Google Trends at all?
Google Trends. Not for my business, maybe when I was in the corporate world. I don't know why I'm blanking. If I have or not exactly.
So these are just ways of finding trending topics. So especially when you get into, so when we're communicating with your target market, there's going to be, we're going to want to be either creating new content or sharing other people's content about things that they're interested in.
Yep.
So like so for instance, if I search healthy lifestyle, this will give me a graph of people searching this on Google over time.
Okay.
So if somebody goes into Google and they're, how many people are actually searching healthy lifestyle over the last year, and this is worldwide. So let me narrow that down to the U.S. here. And let's go. Oh, that's fine. and you can kind of get a feel for when people are searching it the most. So you'll see like there's a big drop in December actually, and right around Christmas. So you can see like this is last year, December 18th to 24th was like the lowest of the year on people searching healthy lifestyle, and then right afterwards there's a pretty big spike. Then it drops a little bit and spikes again in February, and so this is just an idea of how often people are searching and when. And it also will break down, by region, who's searching it.
Oh, wow.
And this section here, related topics, is what I like to look at too, because this will, when we're thinking of ways of narrowing down the audience and of finding content relevant, this will give you some ideas. So you can look at something like people searching health education.
Oh my gosh, that's so surprising. Looking at the subregions, I'm just like, really? Didn't think that, but okay.
Interesting. Betsy DeVos comes up as, I guess, that's because she's word. It's probably because the word education is in here.
Yeah.
That's kind of an interesting one, though. I don't know why she would pop up there.
Now, does anybody have access to this, or just you do because you have an account with them or something?
You would have access to this too. This is public domain. This tool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, there's a few tools that I have, and same with Audience Insights. You have access to that one too. Okay. But you have to be in the back end of your ads account.
Right.
So
right.
You have to log in your ads account, and you'll have access to that.
Got it.
Yeah. So these are public domain. One of the tools that I want to look up too, and this is for competitive analysis. This is a tool called SEMrush.
Huh.
And this one's a paid tool, but there is a free version that gives you some information.
Okay.
I have the paid version that gives me a lot more information.
Mm-hmm.
But like for instance, so what was the name of one of your competitors again? It was, I think I have it down.
Brene Brown.
Brene Brown. Okay, so let me just try Brene.
And she's not really health. She's just like, she's more lifestyle, She's like, like this video, The Power of Vulnerability. I mean, she just talks to things about improving your life and.
Okay, that's perfect though. But I can grab her, for instance, and I can actually go into this tool. I can put in her website, and I can actually pull up kind of the back end of how many people are searching for her, what keywords she ranks for, and we can look at kind of like what she's doing and see. And this is, it turns out she's actually not, that website is not driving a lot of traffic, it turns out.
What?
Let me see, unless maybe it's because it might be because of the way it's put in there.
Oh, okay. I was like, wow, I'd be super.
Might be. We'll see, hang on.
It's thinking, it's not sure.
Let's see, it's still not coming up.
You think because you have the slash there?
Could be. Let me try just searching her name without the website.
Okay.
Oh, that is why. I'm in the keyword section, not the domain section. So that might be.
Yeah.
That probably is why. So let me try that. Actually, let me try that one more time as a domain.
Okay.
Let me go back here. Yeah, because she has 60,500 people are searching her name every month.
That's
so I'm sure her website should show up here. So let me come back to the domain overview. If it will cooperate with me, there we go. Let me try that again. Yeah, but this is a really cool tool when it works. It's going to give me a lot of data, and here we go. So this is her website. She has 32,800 people are searching that website on Google, and this kind of gives me data on the keywords that she's ranking for.
okay.
and I can kind of use that and also look at competitors. If do you have competitors here? No. Okay. Well, I can look at her keywords and get an idea of what she's ranking for, and this can be really useful for you when you're starting to, especially to get into search engine optimization and what people are searching for. And so, I mean, words like Brene Brown, those aren't going to be useful to you. But if we keep going down here, and what happened? Did I get logged out? Come on. Okay. So now if I start searching through here, I can start to see which keywords may be relevant to you. So let me do a search by volume. Yeah. I got a little bit of lag, I think, because we're on the call right now, so it's going a little slower than normal. So apologize for that.
No, it's fine. So what's the free version of, what's the URL to the free version of this?
Same one, semrush.com.
Oh, okay.
You're just going to get they're going to give you the top 20 keywords. So if you search like a website and you want to know what keywords they're ranking for, they're only going to give you a list of like 20 instead of a list of, this one's 200, but sometimes you'll have like 10,000.
Okay.
So, and this may or may not be useful here, but I mean, I'm looking through to see what she's ranking for. And most of the words are related to her name.
Yeah.
So and if that's the case, it may not be useful because you're not going to drive a ton of traffic for people searching for Brene Brown. However, on Facebook, you might be able to drive some traffic for people that like Brene Brown's page.
Yeah.
But not on Google, really. So let me see here. Brene, yeah. Might be a better example to go after somebody else here.
Okay.
What was another name?
Like Gabby Bernstein.
Okay, let me check the end of this. And so here's some words that are more relevant, but just things she's ranked for. So vulnerability and shame, image of courage, wholehearted living, wholeheartedness, definition. So these are just some keywords that are driving some traffic. This is a pretty small list, actually, compared to other websites that I often find on here. Let's try. So it was Gabby Bernstein?
Yeah.
2 B's or G-A-B-B-Y or?
G-A-B-B-Y and then Bernstein. Actually, you know what? Let's do Chris Carr. Let's do K-R-I-S.
Is it chriscarr.com too?
Yes. KRISCARR.com.
Okay.
I believe it's a .com.
And that's a pretty major person?
Yeah, she's way up there, health and wellness arena.
Yeah, chriscarr.com. Okay.
My dogs are joining us.
Oh, good. Yeah, so she's definitely spends more time on the SEO side. As you can see, she has, instead of 100 keywords, she has 54,000 that she's ranked for.
Oh, good.
Instead of like 100 backlinks, she has 12,000 backlinks, which are important for search engine rankings.
Yeah.
And then we can also look and see and this is interesting. So these are the competitors, and in terms of SEMrush, a competitor is defined as somebody that's ranked for similar keywords. So
Okay.
the only way they define a competitor is that they're ranked for the high percentage of the same keywords.
Okay.
And out of these, Natural Health School is number one. Motivation and Love, number two. Even Better Now, number three. Are you familiar with any of these? Get Off Your Acid.
Get off your ass. No, I don't know any of them. No, I don't. None of them are
Okay.
familiar at all.
Okay. Let me see what else we have here. Total URL. What's this? Referring domains. And these are the top sites that refer her traffic to. So healthygallbladder.com is actually her number one. She has her number one source of people click from healthygallbladder.com to her website.
Huh.
That's her number one source of driving traffic.
Okay.
And that's because she has 1,800 backlinks. She probably writes articles for them, I would imagine.
Probably.
And that's how so this gives you an idea. These are the top websites that drive traffic for her.
Okay.
But so crazysexylife.com, jasonroble.com, cookinghit.com, and then katiedalebout.com. She probably writes articles that get either shared or featured on all those websites. Those are her top referring domains. And now when I come back to keywords.
Yeah, her excuse me, Crazy Sexy Life and whatever, that's her website too.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
So on some of her articles, or she might just have a bio page that probably links back to her, to chriscarr.com. So here are. So this is organized by the percentage of traffic that these keywords are generating first. So Crazy Sexy Cancer, pH Balance, Crazy Sexy Diet are the top three referring keywords outside of Chris Carr and the misspelling Chris Carr. But kind of going through these can be very useful. Again, to identify what people are searching online and how you can kind of leverage it. So like here's and these numbers here. Volume is the number of searches per month. So that's the number of people that search that term per month. So for instance, like here's a big one. Iron-rich foods. 60,500 people are searching that each month. It accounts for almost 1% of all her traffic, which is actually a significant amount in the grand scheme of all of her traffic.
Okay.
Especially when she's ranked for 56,000 words. And then if you were to pay for this, so if you ran like what they call a PPC campaign, and you ran like a Google AdWords ad, you'd pay about $1.04 per click if you wanted to run an ad against that. This is cost per click and that's for a paid like Google AdWords account. So this is these kind of things are like what I would call opportunities for traffic.
Mm-hmm.
So Iron-rich foods is one. pH Balance, 14,800 searches a month. $1.51 a click. It's under. I mean, that's not cheap, but that's not too bad, and it accounts for 3% of all our traffic on our site. So when you're writing articles and things like that, these are the kind of keywords that I would want to start thinking about. So like when I'm creating content, I want to create keywords. I want to create content that's going to focus on like pH balance. And it could be related to like, drinking pH water, alkaline water. It could be related to anything like that. But these are, if you start writing articles about this content, it'll help you to organically rank for that keyword. The more you reference in your website and the more it's referenced in articles and backlinks, the more you're going to rank for it. So I'd start looking through these and looking for opportunities and things that can relate and that can be content pieces too. So when you're creating content, instead of just kind of creating content based on like, off of a whim or something, actually do some research to see what people are searching for, and then create content kind of reverse engineering what people are already searching for.
Mm-hmm.
So reducing inflammation, Epstein-Barr virus, I don't know what that is.
I've heard of it.
Juicing versus blending. There's a bunch of different variations on inflammation, like how to reduce inflammation, best thing for inflammation, how to reduce inflammation in the body fast, alkaline diet. I mean, it's just a lot of these are variations too.
Yeah.
So I would spend time here figuring out where the opportunities are, especially for creating content. And then, and also if you're going to run an ad, what are some of these topics that you can leverage inside of the ad to make it more appealing? Since you know that 60,000 people are searching iron-rich foods, or each month, or that 14,000 are searching pH balance. So it's kind of a way of getting out in front of that.
Right. And this is the whole U.S., right?
This is the whole U.S., yeah. Now, one other tool I want to share is called buzzsumo.com. And this one, I don't pay for this right now. And you get a very limited amount of usage each day, but each day you can use it for like 3 searches or something like that.
Oh, okay.
But it's a really great tool to find, especially when we're talking about social media marketing. You can find out what people are sharing online right now related to like a certain topic. And so we've talked a lot about healthy lifestyle. So I'm going to search that in BuzzSumo right now. But if I search in BuzzSumo and I say I want an article about healthy lifestyle, this will show me the most shared articles on social media based on that term.
Wow.
And what you can do is you can then share this article directly. Like if you wanted to share this on your Facebook or your Twitter or your LinkedIn, you can do that, and then you can add a little blurb with it, which is essentially called content curation, curating other people's content. Yeah. But it's a pretty powerful tool. You just you're very limited on how often you can use it for free. You can pay for this tool, and I have so many tools I pay for. I just don't pay for this right now. So, but here's one that we talked about how Chris Carr wrote articles about inflammation. So here's 5-step plan to reduce inflammation with a healthy and active lifestyle. It was shared 13,000 times on Pinterest, actually, 258 times on Facebook, and it kind of just shows you how many times. Now, if I'm focusing on Facebook, I can filter by the most Facebook shares.
Oh, perfect. I was going to ask about that.
Yeah. So now this one is now it's filtering by the most Facebook shares, and that's the key here. So here, saturated fat does not clog the arteries. This article about saturated fat is the #1 shared article on Facebook for the last year, 35,000 shares, and it was written back in April. So you can kind of look at the date here and things like that. But you can also filter based on date. So if I want to, I could look at the past week, the past month, past 24 hours, and I can filter that way too. So if you want to kind of be on top of it, so let's look at the past week, and let's see if I've already run out of searches.
Oh man!
But if you come in here, you'll get a couple of searches. You can filter, so you can search healthy lifestyle, and you can filter by the past week over here, and it'll give you the most popular searches by the last week. And they've actually cracked down on this. I used to be able to get like 5 searches for free. And now I think they've cracked it down to like, what was that, 2 or 3? So not too many there.
Pretty soon there will be nothing free.
But they do have a 14-day free trial, so you can take advantage of that. So they have a 14-day free trial, and then it's pretty expensive. It's $80 a month.
That's very expensive.
Pretty expensive, or $100 a month if you pay month to month. It's only $80 a month if you pay for the year up front.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a cool tool. Don't get me wrong, but it's pricey, but again, it's pretty cool that you can find out exactly what are the trending topics. You can come in here once a day, and then you can share. You can just share like a trending article, and Or you could take this topic, because now you know that this topic got shared 35,000 times on Facebook, and write your own article about it, and it positions you to be more likely to be shared because you're kind of borrowing on what already worked. You know what already worked.
Right.
And we can kind of look through here. So this is like here's another article on saturated fat. Same publication. This might even be the same. Actually, it looks like the same article, but shared a second time. And even the second time they shared it, it had 11.3 thousand shares.
Wow. Makes sense, though. The topic.
Well, it's because it says saturated fat does not clog the arteries. So anytime you give someone a reason they can have saturated fat or a reason to have more sugar, they're going to read it and share it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. And heart disease is the #1 killer in the world. So
yeah.
So
maybe it might not be a good thing that they're sharing this article. So.
I know.
Yeah, but these are tools that I use, on a daily basis even. So if I want to, especially if I'm creating content, I'm going to want to look at keyword data, and I want to look at trends, and then I want to look at this tool BuzzSumo and see what other people are doing that's already having success.
Mm-hmm.
And then, depending on the platform too, I might be on LinkedIn, so I might be looking at which article has the most shares on LinkedIn. And this, actually this article has 633 on LinkedIn also, which is a decent amount.
So you can't share on Instagram from here?
They don't have it. They didn't build it into the tool.
Yeah.
So probably because Instagram really has exploded in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And this tool has been around a little longer, but yeah, they don't. Let's see here. Yep, they don't have it. I mean, you could share it to Buffer, and then you could put it through Instagram that way.
What's Buffer?
Buffer is it's kind of like Hootsuite. It's like a curation tool. So if you want to post to multiple social media networks at once, you can use it.
Oh.
You can also just click on share, and I thought maybe not. I thought they had a link directly to the article. Backlink shares, share this piece of content. Well, I think if you click on the article itself, let me see if this actually pulls up. Yeah, you can if you just click on the article link, you can just pull up the link and then paste that into, then take this and paste it into Instagram.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Okay.
So you just have to take an extra step, that's all.
Yeah.
But I think in my opinion, the more valuable use of this, I mean, it is valuable to share this and to get, especially because you can drive traffic because you're sharing a popular article and you can draw attention to yourself. But it's even more valuable to look at the topics that are most trending and then to borrow them and then create a unique piece of content around those, knowing that there's already a lot of buzz around this topic.
Okay.
So when you're creating content, this is a very, very useful tool, because now we know exactly what people are searching for, and we can do that. And
I would imagine you could even create a Facebook Live with.
Well, absolutely, yeah. You can do a Facebook Live on saturated fat and use you can pretty much borrow that headline for the most part and put that as your topic. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't do it verbatim personally, but also not. I mean, but you could borrow a lot of it. And you could make a Facebook Live. Does saturated fat really not clog arteries? Something like that, and that could be the topic. And that's going to be based on this data. It's going to draw interest.
Okay.
So yeah, you could. Yeah, and I mean, and the thing is, with anything on social media, if you're not putting money behind it, the only way your social media will have legs is if people are sharing it.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the only way that you can spread your Facebook post without putting money behind them. So shares are very, very valuable, and then so we know that this topic is more likely to have shares than some other topic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's the other thing about any social media, especially Facebook. if you're not getting shared, you're not getting seen. Except otherwise, you have to be posting in groups or putting money behind it. So
I see. Okay.
yeah,
Makes sense.
because otherwise you're just sharing, to a segment of your audience. Because if you post on your wall, 6% of the people that you're connected to on Facebook will organically have your article show up on their wall.
Which is that just ticks me off.
Yeah, I mean it's the reality of how it works. And however, when people share it, that expands it, because now every time somebody shares it, 6% of their audience will see it, and whatever 6% that is depends on the algorithm. But that's how it works.
Yeah, I mean this is really important to me because like I said last time, my Facebook shares, my posts, my videos are not getting many likes at all, and they're public. I make them public.
Yeah.
So just for my friends, but they're getting very little likes, shares, or comments. So to hone in, what obviously is aligned with what I want to be talking about, right? To find the really important topic.
Well, yeah, we want to. This is. I searched healthy lifestyle. These are the articles that came up.
Yeah.
But you could start looking through, and again, we can only see like the top. We're actually cut off here too. We only get to see the top 20 or so, top 15. But you can start filtering through and seeing, okay, what are some other articles that might be more aligned with what I'm doing, and you can read them. Like here, things you can profit from living a healthy lifestyle, and I could pull it up and actually read the article, see what it's about, and go through it and see if it's relevant, or I don't know what this article is, but kind of go through it and see if it's if it makes if it has good content,
right?
Then borrow what works and don't use what doesn't.
Right.
But here's the saturated fat article too. You can kind of look through this and see. And this looks like it actually might be a scientific study.
Yeah, because I wonder. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't think most people would read a scientific study, but
Well, I mean, look at this. It even shows it was picked up by 62 news outlets, so that helps spread it too.
Oh yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can kind of look through these though, and you just kind of keep going until you find something that that makes the most sense. Let's try this one: fuel your healthy lifestyle with the power of protein.
Okay.
So let's see here. So here's a more common article.
Yeah.
You can kind of look through it, see how it's structured, see what they cover here. Low carb, vegetarian, paleo, different tips, things like that. So it's a short article, but it was well received, well shared. And then even directly from the article, you can share by just clicking one of these buttons too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to introduce you to these tools. I know we're already at the top of the hour here. Okay. So the next thing then is I'm going to send you a few more worksheets on the avatar stuff. So I want you to take kind of like some of these tools I just showed you, and I'm going to have you do some work around the avatar using these tools, and I'll send you the URLs if you need to be reminded on where to find these tools.
Oh, that'd be great.
And then from there, we can actually get into like the whole aspect of now creating your messaging, creating your offer. Once we get a little bit more into the avatar, so that's kind of why I spend time here.
Yeah.
And then the next thing is to get into the actual offer itself, the copywriting, talking, and again, we want to get in after we get into the mindset a little bit about what are the wants, emotions, and beliefs of our target market. How can we use that in our offer, in our messaging, that kind of stuff.
Okay, and then what I'll do is, so you want me to, like, when I anytime before the next meeting, whatever worksheets you send me, plus the ones I have, you want me to fill them out? And
Yeah, it'd be best if you could send them to me. So if you have to, I don't know if you're doing them by hand. If you're doing by hand, if you could scan them or take a photo from your phone even and send them that way.
I can do that. Yep.
Okay. That'd be cool. That'd be useful for me because it'll help, especially for next week when we get into the messaging. It'll be most useful if I have that information up front. I think we can make more progress that way.
Excellent. Okay.
Cool.
We need to schedule a meeting next week, right?
Yeah. Any questions too about what we just talked about, or?
No, this is very insightful. I like these tools. So no, I'm good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, the other tool I didn't talk about is, I don't know if you've used it, Google Keyword Planner. You have to have an AdWords account to access that tool. Now that's free to do that, but you do have to create an AdWords account, and that's a whole another process in and of itself. But that can be a useful tool too, and you can do some keyword research using Google Ads Planner. And what's nice about that tool versus SEMrush is that you can actually filter down to location. So if you wanted to filter and see, like, in Ventura County, what keywords are people searching for in Ventura County related to health, you could do that.
Okay, interesting.
It's probably, and generally the numbers will be pretty small, but you could still find out what people are searching.
Okay, no, that's cool. But you have to have a Google Ads account, you said.
You do have to have a Google Ads account. It's free to create one, but you do have to create one. And it's a little tricky because they actually make you create an ad to begin with. So you have to create an ad, and then you have to make sure that you don't turn that ad on. And I think they make you put a credit card down too. So the tricky part is making sure that when you do all that, your ad is not turned on. You want to make sure it's turned off.
Okay.
I knew a lady that, I wasn't working with her, but she created her Google Ads account, and then an ad ran for like a month before she noticed that she spent like $800 on.
Oh my God, that's horrible. That's evil of them. Wow, sneaky.
Yeah, it's a little sneaky, and she was in her 70s, so it was kind of.
That stinks.
I think they gave her a partial refund, but not a full refund.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a little. I don't like that they make. I don't mind even putting a credit card down, but I don't like that they make you like basically create an ad and then turn it off.
That's where it's sneaky. It's like, if you're smart enough and you're paying attention, well, make sure to turn it off. I'm surprised they haven't had lawsuits, or maybe they have and nothing's coming.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm a little surprised too, actually. Okay, so do you want to do the call next week, or do you want to do it the week after? What are you thinking?
We can do it next week, but do you have time on Thursday in the afternoon, the 7th?
The 7th? Yeah, I do right now. It's open right now.
Let's see. How about 1:30? Is that okay?
Can we do 2?
Yeah.
Okay, that'd be better. I do a call that ends at 1:30, so 2 would be better.
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. And I'll send you the replay for this call also.
Great.
So I record these, and I sent you the last one. I record them, and then I upload them to YouTube and send you that link.
Thank you.
Okay, so that'll be 3. Okay, so 2 o'clock on Thursday, and then I will get you the YouTube video link, and I have I think I have 3 documents that are ready to go right now, so I'll send those to you right now, and then there'll probably be a few more that come to you the next day or 2 as well. So.
Okay, and then I'll make sure I email you the documents completed before the session.
Awesome.
Great.
Cool.
Thanks, Justin. Have a good
You're
week.
welcome. You too. Thanks a lot.
Okay, bye.
Have a good night. Bye.
You too. Bye.